Good evening. It's been a while, a few days, so fair bit to cover, but hopefully I'll keep it pretty short. This is essentially days 3, 4, 5, 6. Just quickly on days 3, 4 was a lot of picking, a lot of pre-picking, and yeah, that was pretty much it, with a little bit of cellar action in the evening. Obviously, the process in such a small winery is very hands-on. So Peter, the winemaker, is out there grafting, and in the vineyards every day, checking sugar levels, checking acid levels, checking ripeness, checking rot, checking all sorts. And then giving us instructions about how to pick accordingly. So yeah, so day 3 and 4, a lot of pre-picking, a lot of picking and getting it back and processing it. So the where we stand from that now is we have three tanks that are under fermentation, 2 separate blocks of Riesling, and 1 Mosel, which has been brewing away for about almost a week now. So I've managed to have a look at that almost every day since I've been here, which will be a week on Wednesday. So, which is pretty cool. You can really appreciate the development of the aromatic profiles, the calming down in some instances of the acid, and how the alcohol really ties it all together and gives it a bit of structure to the palate. So looking forward to tasting the Rieslings, which I've been doing on a daily basis. Those days 3 and 4. Sorry. Day 5 yesterday was a bit of a preview about my new roles as a cellar hand for this vintage. So I just got shown how to do essentially morning cellar checks, which is checking the ocean or sugar levels of the wines that we have in tank, measuring temperature, measuring sugar levels, dating it and tasting it to make sure that it's headed in the right direction. And then obviously just feeding that back to Peter, and then having a bit of a chat about it, really. So that was yesterday. There was a bit of everything yesterday as well. Did a lot of picking. It was a pretty big day, but it was pretty cool. Yesterday we picked the Pinot Blanc. Sorry, day 4 we picked the Pinot Blanc, and we picked it clean. So we didn't do any pre-picking. We just picked the good stuff, left the bad stuff. And we destemmed it on day 4 as well, which was sorry, we didn't destem it. I'm getting confused here. We picked it. Yes, we did destem it, and we left it sit or cold soak for 16 hours. So we got the destemmer out, smashed it out. Pretty hard work. Again. Such a small traditional hands-on winery, so Peter and I kind of took it in turns, being in the back of the trailer with a plastic fork, like a shovel fork. I can't think of what the bloody things are called at the moment. And we took it in turn to pick up the whole bunches that we picked, because we were essentially gonna destem it and press it a little bit differently. So very soft fork. It wasn't metal, it wasn't piercing skins. It was quite soft and light, and literally just fed that into the destemmer, and that would just do what it says in the tin. Really, had a bit of a tubing, a cylinder, stainless steel. I think quite light though, and quite thin and quite delicate, with holes in it. And as the grapes go through the 2 rollers in the bottom, with a fair bit of gap in there, they're kind of separated from the stem and shot down, and then the stainless steel tube with holes in it catches the stems and then pushes them out the opposite way. So I've got some photos that I'll put up of that. It was pretty cool. It works really fast. It works as fast as you can tip the grapes in really. So yeah, it was pretty good. The one slight cautious thing that we had to do was just to not feed it too fast, because it kind of overloaded the system, so when you did lose some grapes. So I guess people that are really concerned about yield levels, and this being, you know, like a decent wine for them, their Pinot Blanc, really wanted to keep as much as possible, so they didn't want to let the grapes get away. So we didn't do it too fast, but you could do it essentially as fast as you wanted and go for it. So yeah, that was day 5. So day 6, which was this morning, Peter worked pretty hard and got all the Pinot Blanc in tank. So it sat 16 hours just on its skins after we picked it. Peter wanted to bring the acid level down through the natural levels of potassium in the skin, which will bring the acid level down naturally a degree. So then it kind of just helps get it down a little bit to more in the ballpark of where he wanted the Pinot Blanc to be, and also to give it a little bit more, I think a little bit more complexity on the palate. So yeah, 16 hours. He processed that today at about 10 o'clock this morning, and got it in, and it's looking really clean. He was really happy with it, which is good, because obviously he's worked pretty hard for that all year. So obviously he's reaping the rewards of how clean this looks. So just from, I guess, an interest point of view is that we had a look at the pre-picked Riesling, so the rotten, not the rotten stuff, but the stuff that wasn't graded as highly, which we took off of the vine and processed. That was quite green and quite muddy, and comparing that to how clean the Pinot was, it was almost like slightly green but not muddy at all, like really clean green but more yellow, where the I guess the lower grade Riesling grapes that we picked were more on the grey-green, and quite dark and quite muddy. So it was really cool to see the Pinot Blanc like that, and tasting it as well, after it had 16 hours cold soak. So that was pretty cool. So today was also pretty interesting. It was a good day. Yeah, so I started a bit early today. Started at 7. Straight into cellar checks, and we had to clean the press after pressing. I know I did that lunchtime, but I had to clean up a little bit this morning because we had so much stuff coming in today. So yeah, I did the cellar check. So again, as I mentioned before, just measuring sugar and temperatures, making sure it's all going in the right direction, and had a good taste, which is pretty good. 8 AM we were back out in the vineyard, and we were picking some grapes for the cooperative that they're a part of here. So Willems, the winery where I'm at, is a part of a cooperative where they essentially give I'm not sure how much it is. I need to double check, but it's a pretty big container of grapes, like maybe about 250, 300 litres potentially. Worth maybe of Riesling, and they give it to the cooperative. So we picked that stuff today for them, and in the morning. So did that pretty quick. Straight back to the winery for lunch, and had a bit of a clean up from all the Pinot Blanc that Peter had processed, and got rid of all the skins, which was. It was interesting to see what they came out of the press like. He didn't press it too hard. He didn't want to get too much extraction, because he wanted to keep the quality pretty high. So we had a look after they'd been pressed, and to see how much juice was potentially left in them. And there was still a little bit to be taken out, but it would have been, I guess, a lot more of the phenolic compounds going into the juice, which yes, you get more volume, but in this particular instance, detracts from the quality that Peter wanted. So Before went that, I went, nah, that's it, not doing that. Let's just get rid of it and keep the quality. So pretty cool decision that he made there, and looking forward to checking it out when it's ready. Yeah, so shoveled a hell of a lot of grape skins and stuff like that, which was yeah, hard work but good. The whole process, you know, like you see the good things, the juice and stuff like that. But there's also the aspect of the cleanup and the footprint that's left behind of all this stuff. But pretty good here. They use a lot of it to make schnapps, which they're making schnapps out of this Pinot Blanc skin, and the rest goes into the compost. So pretty cool, pretty good system. We also had some international wine buyers that buy some of their Riesling over for a bit of a tasting and a bit of a marketing thing of just taking some pictures and having a chat and getting a bit more information about the wine, as most clients do when they're trying to sell their wine. So that was good. Again, just pretty much just stood in the shadows and had a listen to the info that Peter was giving out about the winery and about Willems and their ethos and stuff. So it was good, and obviously really cool to hear how well it does go internationally, and yeah, that they loved it. They were, I think, pretty excited to get to taste the wine pre-alcohol. So yeah, so they were pretty interested in that. After that, Peter took me around the Saar Valley, and what did take me, we went to the vineyards of the block, which happened to be around the Saar Valley, and saw some pretty cool stuff, some awesome sights, and yeah, it's so picturesque, so awesome, and some really steep slopes. We went past one that was 40 degrees slope, which was almost impossible to get a tractor up and down, but they do. A special tractor though, it's you got tank tracks on it rather than wheels, just to give it a little bit more, I guess a bit more, I can't think of the word at the moment, but it just helps it kind of stay on the hill. And yeah, the other interesting thing is they're actually designed with special brakes that, from what I could understand, in an emergency of sliding down the hill, or I imagine that's probably quite a high risk, they burst out, I guess some like really thick pistons that hit the soil in hopes that'll stop. So the emergency brake isn't just like you know, slamming on the brakes, the handbrake that you've got in a car. It's literally like two, maybe four solid pistons, depending how big it is, straight down into the soil to kind of really anchor it and get it stopped. So yeah, long day, but pretty cool, really interesting. Yeah, so I also got to add some enzymes and stuff to the Pinot Blanc before letting it settle last night, which was pretty cool. And I have to get a picture of the bottle. I mean, it's in, I think it's in German, but be able to get Peter to translate it, because that's some interesting cool facts on the back that about why they add it and what it does. Goes into a little bit more detail than what I've got time for now, because I've already been talking for about 30 minutes 40 seconds, so I might just leave it there. Yeah, got some more cool things happening, lots more picking, but really hoping that the Pinot Noir that they've got ripens enough for a red wine. If it doesn't, they make it into a Blanc de Noir, so just a white Pinot Noir, which is still interesting. But if it ripens enough, he's gonna make a red wine, which would be awesome, because Pinot's Pinot's my favourite red. So I'm looking forward to having a look at some back vintages and stuff like that as well. So anyway, that's all from me. Yeah.